welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle. We're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to your favorite Game of Thrones podcast. We're the Morning Throners talking Cat 9.
Let's go. Big cat chapter.
And a bunch of Frey boys.
Jeff's favorite character.
My favorite chapter. This is maybe my favorite chapter of all the books.
You don't like it?
This is an awful chapter.
I thought it was good.
It's not bad.
It's okay.
All right, all right. We'll just go right from there. Kyle, what was your?
It shows Cat's prowess here, man.
I guess so. She didn't do much, if we're being honest.
She didn't do much.
She just kept her tongue. She just knew what not to say.
I mean, they kind of cut out the important part, right, where we actually get the negotiation. We don't know if what we end
We don't
up
know
with
if
is
she
a good
did
deal or a
anything. It
bad
could have
deal.
been. Yeah. But all right, Kyle, what'd you like about it? Just Cat's prowess.
She went in there, and what did she come out with? What they needed. So you can shut the fuck up, Jeff.
Yeah, but okay, but that was pretty much the biggest chip that the Starks had is marrying Robb off to somebody, and it's gone. It's gone. They used it.
Does he have to?
They used it to cross a bridge.
Well, I mean,
You should. Made a pact.
What if Frey dies before then? Does he know?
we'll get to that at the end. Where does it start? I'm sure everyone knows what the fucking deal was.
Starts at the Green Fork.
Yeah, I think it's the Green Fork. They're coming in through the bogs, I believe.
Yes.
Black
Yeah,
bog
there
to
you
the
go.
neck.
Yeah, they're coming out of the bogs right above the twins.
And they come upon the one side of the twin buildings, castles.
Well,
Whatever
that's
you
actually not till the second day.
that's the second.
The first day, Cat just kind of like talks about how Robb's been every single day. Robb rides with a different lord and like gets like opinions from like a different person.
Just Ned shit.
How much he's like Ned.
Yeah, exactly. She thinks that's like Ned. She thinks about how she's worried about her dad, her brother, all her kids, Ned. But then she's like, well, I can't help any of them. The only person I can help is Robb.
Robb right
So
now.
she's like, I got to be strong with Robb. And what's been going on with the Blackfish?
The Blackfish has
Blackfish has
been going
been
ahead
scouting out.
and scouting with his troops, taking out some other scouts, some Lannister scouts.
Yeah, we
And
find
the
that out later.
Ravens.
Yep, and the Ravens, and we find all that out later that night when Theon comes up, and they find out. I guess it's probably from Blackfish that the Freys, who they're like going to see right later this chapter, they're not like they have people with them too. Like they didn't know. We didn't know that until this chapter either. That there's
What, like the 4,000 men? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we kind
But
of.
it's also they should be fighting. They should be out fighting.
It's right on brand for him, though. And she even talks about that. Like,
Exactly.
This is
the late
what
Lord
he
Frey.
but he's just not gonna. He's like, oh, well, I mean, we're not there yet, but he's like, oh, I would have went, but it was already lost by the time everybody was here.
Well, and he's like, I was waiting for everyone to come. Like I was gonna come.
Yeah.
There's just more people who aren't here yet. Wasn't I? Tell him,
Yeah.
Jared. Like and he asked his son. He's like, I was. He's like, he was. I swear on my honor. It's
Yeah.
like, shut the fuck up.
What honor do you have, you little piece of shit?
I mean, we don't know any of these guys, and like actually, like he kind of seems like an asshole in this chapter. But like anytime we talk to like we only get like sentence or two here or there from his sons, but his sons seem like
Great
very,
people.
like, normal, like honorable people, and I think like one of them talked in like, and like we've actually seen like a few of these names before. Like a few of these people were at the tournament in King's Landing. He talks about a different tournament that he went to later on, but like Sansa has seen like 3 or 4 of these people before. Danwell, Hostine.
There's no chance I'll ever keep in order which is
phrase,
which ever.
Oh yeah, so they get there later about how many phrases there are, but I'll tell you what, it was a pain in the ass to put my notes. I only got some of Walter's sons, and then I got all of Stevron, who's like the main one we get in this chapter besides Walter.
He's the oldest, right?
He's the eldest.
Stevron?
He's over 60 himself, so I got his whole lineage because he has
grandchildren now, right?
He has grandchildren with 3 different wives.
That's crazy. I mean, they're all just outliving like the life expectancy. Like it's got to be like 45, 55 is life expectancy.
Just 2 of them, Walter and then his eldest son, are both outliving the life expectancy.
I feel like
there's probably.
I feel like there's got to be more of them that are just as old or almost. As old.
his son couldn't have any sons that are like over 45. say he has sons when he's like 14. He can't have any sons that are over 46 right now. So even that's technically still less than the life expectancy.
I meant Walter's other sons.
But Walter could have other sons. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's probably like 2 or 3 other ones. But I bet you he's probably had some that died too. I'm actually not sure. But it's a fuck ton. And Kat even says it later when she walks, is like going into the thing, like that her dad always said that Walter Frey was the only man that could like field an army
with his seat
from his trousers.
Oh yeah,
from his trousers.
Yeah, something like that. So Robb is talking about these 4,000 men, and Kat rides up to him on the first day, and he's talking to, I think, Robert Glover is the one he's riding with on the first day.
Yep.
And basically, she's just saying, like, I don't know.
Well, Robb's like, yeah, he's got to be gathering these guys to fight with us, right? Like, this has to be for us. And she's like,
easy there, Robbie.
And she has like a lot of like kind of like backhanded comments or thoughts about Frey throughout this chapter. But the one that I like is I think it's like right around this part. She says, if truth be told, I doubt even Lord Frey knows what Lord Frey intends to do. He has an old man's caution and a young man's ambition, and never lacked for cunning.
I think the other good one was expect nothing of Walter Frey and you will never be surprised.
Exactly. You'll never be surprised.
She's just coming at him hard.
So then that night they camp between, she just says they camp between the river and the road. I don't know like really the importance for that. I have another map that I can.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
I can share. This one's very
we
simple.
Also get a little tidbit here that like he's actually got a connection to the Lannisters too. So like sure he's do you
remember the connection?
Yeah, Tywin's sister married one of his sons. So like his loyalty isn't even clear because sure he's one of I forget her dad's name now. Tully, right?
Hoster
Tully.
Hoster Tully.
He like sure he's his bannerman, but he still has a connection to the other army as well. So who fucking knows? But she's like, but he has so many sons. Of course, one of them married a Lannister. You know, like they got to marry somebody. So
all over the place.
I guess he's just very ambiguous where his loyalties lie.
What a map! Holy map!
I told you, there's nothing special here.
Tywin's the red line.
It's actually Adam Marbrand. I had it labeled, but then later, once I start talking more, I realized that the first map I made, I thought that the first like little skirmish was further south, but I think it's like surprisingly close to the Twins, because later they say that like they're actually like attacking like the Frey Bannermen, like the Frey Bannermen and stuff, and the Freys have actually hung up a few Lannisters, right?
Yeah, they're out kind of fighting them, right?
Yeah, but so the first thing is like, this is where the camp is. Again, there's not much in this chapter, like distance-wise, but just for anybody who might be on the first time read, I'm sure just even seeing where the Twins in relation to like River Run and Tywin is like useful. So this is what we got going on for this chapter, kind of like where we're situated. And then at the end, because I'll take this away right now, but at the end, Kyle, what do we end up with? Like, where the army?
What do you mean? Half of them is on the left, the west. I'm assuming I don't see their compass on here, but well, I mean, I was gonna say half is on the west, half is on the east, so it doesn't matter. Of the Green Fork, right? Yeah. The horses to the left and the infantry to the right. Roose on the right.
Well, that's the plan. They're not there right now.
Not
they're all on the right
side.
side.
That's at the end.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, so they're rolling up to this, and like there's some fighting going on. There's some evidence of the Lannisters happening here,
and Kat's kind of afraid that that Walter's going to be like in communication with Tywin. So she tells Theon like, oh, when you go back. So Theon's the one giving all the updates about where Brandon's at. And like, so Brandon was going down and they basically know where the Lannisters are, but the Lannisters basically know where they are as well. They killed like a dozen of the Lannister scouts at some point, and now they're just kind of like fucking with them. But the Lannisters are going back down south, burning as they go. And did Tywin say anything about this in like the last Tyrion chapter?
I don't recall him saying anything about.
He said like we not like going forward and then coming back south, right? He just said like we need to go forward as fast as possible so that he doesn't get like that Robb doesn't get scared and back out.
My guess is it has something to do with kind of just go and see where their front lines are, and if you encounter resistance, come back to join back with the army. I mean, you're not trying to fight with scouts. That's not the point of a scout.
Yeah, no, but he says like it seemed like he said they were pulling back and burning as they go, which makes me think like the whole army's doing that. But I guess
He
just a
says
few
he's
scouts.
gonna
Yeah,
do
I would
that.
say
Outriders.
whoever's out there. Yeah.
And they're pulling, and he's pulling back south. So like the Outriders would be the scouts, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I don't know how. Yeah, but I guess I just don't know how. I assume like Outriders were like people that
I mean, it only
hung out,
takes,
like, relatively
like,
close.
It only
Like, more
takes
like
a handful of
guards.
people to go burn a house down, burn some shit down.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think my idea of what Outriders were different than Scouts was like Outriders just hang out within like a mile of like the main host, so that like if you get near, they're like the guards, right? Like when Tyrion goes to meet Tywin, he runs into the Outriders like a few miles before he gets there. Like that's what
Maybe.
I thought Outriders were. Scouts were like more offensive, and Outriders were more like.
We'll send an email to George and figure out what it means.
I think Kyle's googling.
One who escorts or clears the way for a vehicle or person. So I don't know what you would.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of the same thing as a scout. Then you're just going in front of the army.
I don't know. I don't think it's that important.
Yeah, neither. But I think so like they're somewhere on that bank. I think they're relatively close to the twins because, like I said, we hear later that they're like hanging up Lannister people and stuff.
This is more. It goes more into the brand of the Frey here, where like he's going to protect his land, but only if provoked.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's not going to
And that's even
go
what Kat
too
says,
far away
right?
from his house. And the Freys have killed some Lannisters, so obviously they're pretty close.
It was Frey Bannerman, so I don't know how close because it said Frey Bannerman.
Right. They could be closer to where Tywin's army is versus where the twins are. We don't know where the jurisdiction of the twins is.
Yeah, but the twins is already like a sub house of the Tullys, right? That's like saying like the Bannermen of the Umbers. Like, yeah, sure, but like their reach isn't very far. It's not like they're the Starks, right? And they own the fucking North. They're the Freys. They have like them and like
What I was
houses
saying,
we
what
would
I'm
never
now
know the
saying,
name of.
what I'm now saying is that you don't know how far south their reach does go.
I know, but I'm saying it's relatively close. If you look at the map I just showed, it's like where I put that X is like about as far south as I would say the Frey reach goes.
Where are we timeline wise?
1, 2.
Yeah, but like
Read the map.
so like how many weeks since the last
Since
time
the
we
last Cat chapter,
Yeah.
Or even like Tyrion.
it's about a week from both. Relatively closer to Tyrion than Cat. I don't know how far. I don't know how many days ride is in between those two spots though. It's hard to tell stuff like that. But it seems based on this, Tyrion was based on the dates I have. Tyrion was at the end of the crossroads less than 2 days ago. So the next day, Blackfish shows up. He says some shit went down at River Run. What happened at River Run?
Edmure is taken prisoner and wounded.
Edmure got. Yeah, Edmure got.
Edmure got.
They said all the other River Lords like ran away, and some of them made it to River Run, and River Run's under siege now by Jaime, Mr. Jameson,
Mr. fucking Golden Boy.
Jameson Lannister.
And then Rob acts the boy again.
Yeah, I was going to get into that a little.
He does it with Theon too, right? He's like, "We need to cross. Like, fuck this. Like, well, I'm gonna tear this house down around this guy's face.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy."
Catelyn's like, what are you, a little toddler, bro? Fuck off.
I could just imagine him wanting to act. Obviously, he wants to act tougher in front of like the grown men, but he definitely wants to act tough in front of Theon, who's like
kind of
his like been around him and
yeah, it's like his big brother basically.
yeah, and he's his boss kind of.
What were you gonna say about it, Kyle?
But I was just going to get into that. Yeah, it's the same thing you guys are getting into here, where yeah, he's like, well, fine, we'll fucking smash them, and like she's like, well, it's not gonna be that easy. They've been there for quite some time, and nobody's smashed them yet, and we don't really have time to smash them. Like you might need to find a better way.
Resources and like, no, chill out.
Yeah. She's like, sometimes words can accomplish what swords cannot, and that's a lesson that Rob needs to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks she does exactly what Kyle said. Like, you're basically not going to take this castle. Like, you don't have time to siege them. And then she like basically just says like, you're going to have to like figure it out another way. And then as she rides off, she thinks like about, did Ned teach him how to kneel? Did he teach him wisdom as well as valor? And then she thinks that the graveyards of the Seven Kingdoms were full of brave men who had never learned those lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get to the twins. And what's the twins look like, Jeff? You want to read that quote?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'll read it. Their bridge was a massive arc of smooth gray rock, wide enough for 2 wagons to pass abreast. The water tower rose from the center of the span, commanding both road and river with its arrow slits, murder holes, and portcullises. It had taken the Freys 3 generations to complete their bridge. When they were done, they'd thrown up the stout timber keeps on either bank, so no one might cross without their leave. The timber had long since given way to stone. The twins, 2 squat, ugly, formidable castles, identical in every respect, with a bridge arching between, had guarded the crossing for centuries. High curtain walls, deep moats, and heavy oak and iron gates protected the approaches. The bridge footings rose from within stout inner keeps. There was a barbican and portcullis on either bank, and the water tower defended the span itself.
This is a cool artist rendition of the twins. I think it's pretty sweet.
So what's that thing in the middle? Is the water tower?
Water tower.
Yeah.
Okay. And that doesn't look like... maybe it's pretty big. What do you think's there?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think people live there, or
No,
is it like just like...
That's defensive position.
Yeah, she says like basically just arrow slits all over it, and you can see it like at least in the illustration we're looking at. There's arrow slits on like both the front, like north and south facing the river, east and west facing the bridge. If somebody were to like take one of the castles and try and storm, and she said that she said even at the end of the chapter when she rides under it, she can look up and see the murder holes where they like pour like boiling oil or whatever the fuck they pour through those holes, right? And I assume there might be some murder holes that go down. And maybe not. That might not be as useful to go down into the river either. But
well, it definitely made a point to say that the river was defended as well.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, just think about like if you had a ton of archers along the bridge just shooting at like these boats going underneath right now.
Yeah, I mean, you could light people up. I think it's. I mean, for maybe it's ugly, maybe it's not the biggest castle, but it's the smartest fucking castle in the realm.
He just set up a fucking toll booth on a fucking
absolutely
a really important spot. He's like, fuck everyone.
They're the little trolls at the north of the Green Fork.
Exactly.
Do you think there's a toll to like pass under the bridge too?
Under,
like
I don't
if
know.
you're like by boat, like you got to throw up a fucking dragon.
Like, they could probably hold like some ropes down or something like that. I doubt it'd cost a dragon, but I guess they could charge whatever the hell they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying the currency.
I gotcha.
And at this point is when the brothers, they're close enough that the brothers ride out now, right?
Yeah, basically just like his lords agree with what Kat had said. Like, oh fuck, we cannot. There's no way we can attack this. We can't siege it without an army on the other bank. We don't have time. Just like everyone basically agrees at first, and then they ride out. Oh, and they start and then I don't know if this is what Kyle was gonna say, but when he basically says like, "Welcome." Who's your leader? And Rob's like, it's me. And he's like, oh, come in and meet my our Lord Father. And everyone's like, no, fuck that guy right in front of all his sons.
No fucking way, dude. You can't trust that fucker.
Well, I was gonna say I like how they opened this tiny little door and slid a little board across. It sounds like
the Sally port.
It's like the side door. They're like, we ain't opening the gate still.
Yeah. But then everyone just starts like busting on this guy right in front of his 4 sons.
Yeah, they're like, you're not coming back if that happens. Like, we don't trust him. Like, this guy's.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the smartest thing to say right in front of these kids.
He'll sell you to the Lannisters, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like, why doesn't he fucking come out here and you guys hang out in front of both of us?
And then Kat pulls a Katniss Everdeen. I mean, I guess Kat did it first.
I volunteer as tribute.
I volunteer as tribute.
Katniss Everdeen pulled a Catelyn Stark because Kat did it first.
You sure about that?
This happened in
1996. Ooh,
96 this book came out?
What was Hunger Games written, though?
After that.
Way after that. I'm saying like 05.
That's when the movie came out. When was the book written?
No, I think the movie was like 12.
Movie was 2012.
Oh my God, I'm a fucking genius. All right, so Kat lays down her sacrifice that she's going to go in and talk to the guy.
Well, let's be real though, that was the smart move here because Rob,
for sure,
she knew Rob wasn't ready. Like he thought he was, but he definitely wasn't ready for this.
Not to the extent. One, he's never met this guy, right? And we see just how like sharp of tongue he is. Like he probably just started coming at Rob like.
You don't think they both could have gone though?
Hair like nut hairless boy, like this little fucking pimple faced kid, like. Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I should be.
They could have both gone.
I don't. Yeah,
but just think about like Rob's temper wouldn't have.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have played it cool
Rob
the whole
would
time.
not have done well. I agree with Jeff.
It's definitely good that none of his. I think good that none of Rob's men went. Right. I don't think any of them would have.
Roose might have been able to handle it.
Roose maybe, but like Great John wouldn't have been happy with this dude saying shit in front of him.
I mean, they're just barbarians. Let's be honest. What the North is.
They're closer to that than the South, I guess. And then so she thinks to himself after she volunteers. Stefan says like, "Oh yeah, like we'd be happy to have you." And Rob's like, "Are you sure?" And Katz is like, "Nevermore. Lord Waters, my bannerman. I've known him since I was a girl. He would never do me harm." And then she thinks to herself, unless there's a prophet in it. but she thinks that she's like, some truths best not bear saying, and some lies were necessary. So she goes in, and they do like a collateral thing, like when you forget your ID card at the gym, and they're like, "Okay, leave your cell phone up front or whatever."
Yeah, they leave a son. Do they leave a bastard son, or is it just one of the younger ones?
They leave a good one. Yeah, one of the younger ones are with them. But he's a trueborn. Sir Perwyn. You're going to remember that, Jeff?
Yeah, never.
I mean, even Rob's... I don't think he would have been cool with any of them being left. I don't know. I guess he does kind of sound a little...
He literally says, like, I have so many sons. Like, even without him, I have 21. Like, what the fuck are you going to do?
And Rob doesn't know any better. Like Rob does, I doubt Rob knows who's
Catelyn
important. It's probably just by age. Dude, there's a fucking lot.
Dude, 21 kids. Like,
when she goes in the castle, says her father had once said Walder Frey was the only lord in the Seven Kingdoms who could field an army out of his breeches. When the Lord of the Crossing welcomed Catelyn to the great hall of the East Castle, surrounded by 20 living sons, minus her Perwyn, who would have made 21. 36 grandsons, 19 great-grandsons, and numerous daughters, granddaughters, bastards, grandbastards. She understood just what he meant. It's a fuck ton, dude.
22 sons, right?
True boy.
21 sons, 36 grandsons. I mean, just that alone, fucking... That's over an NFL That's more than an NFL roster.
The best part about him as a 90-year-old guy, he's like, yeah, I'm going to impregnate this one too. Like, I'm going to have another son. Like, yeah, I still make it work in the bed.
That's what you're right with that. That's gross, man.
He's got the libido of a fucking 13-year-old.
He's nasty.
Dude, does it just
disgusting? 100%.
Does it just keep working that long?
I didn't think you still.
I think at some point
you
stop producing.
Shooting dust.
He's like Leonardo. Like Leonardo's just potentially could be way more extreme.
Who's
like
Leonardo?
have you DiCaprio?
Leonardo DiCaprio's dating like 19-year-olds.
Have you seen that chart of like Leonardo DiCaprio's age and then the women he dates age?
It's just
like
flat.
His is like a straight line up, obviously.
And
theirs go up. No, fucking Leonardo DiCaprio.
No,
he literally has never dated somebody like over 23 or something like that. Literally goes from like 18 to 23 and then back to 18 to 23, back to 18 to 23, down to 21.
Well, that's like Tom Cruise did the same thing where he would like marry he married Kidman and who was that other girl?
Katie Holmes.
But they all divorced at like the same age.
Look up Leonardo DiCaprio girlfriend age and then just go to Google Images. It's like the chart is all over the place.
All right, and we're back. And Catelyn goes into the Great Hall with all these fucking people. And my dude just starts coming at her and the family. He makes some good points here. He makes some good fucking points.
I mean, yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah, so Kat says it's nice to see him.
Some of it's good.
He's like, I doubt that. He's like, why are you here? Why is Rob not here? Is he too proud? And Stefan's like, Father, don't be courteous or whatever. And Walter's like, you're not the Lord yet. I didn't die. Shut the fuck up. And
I'm too old for that bullshit.
He says, do I look dead?
And then his other son's like, this is not how you speak to guests. And then Walter says, now my bastards presume to teach me courtesy. I'll speak any way I like, damn you. I've had 3 kings to guest in my life and queens as well. Do you think I require lessons from the likes of you, Ryger? Your mother was milking goats the first time I gave her my seed.
Is that a good point, Jeff?
Yes, awesome. Like, shut the fuck up,
Do you
kid.
think that's a good point?
Absolutely. You're a base-born son. Like, go fucking sit down. Like, go to the back of the line is what he should be telling
You're
us.
lucky you're in this hall right now. Yeah. You're lucky we didn't make you sit at the end of the table like we do Jon Snow.
in the back of the room
Exactly.
too. Not even at the family table.
Yeah.
Hidden.
Catelyn's probably just like pissed off this guy. Like, you would seat a bastard in my presence.
So Kat's pretty much like, we're here. Can you open the gates, please? Like, that's what we need from you. He's like, ha! To River Run? No way, motherfucker.
He's smart knowing that they want to go to River Run.
He said,
I mean, it makes sense.
Old, but he
That's
can
what
still
they
read
go.
a
It's the
map.
only place you can go.
The only reason to go through there, yeah.
Yeah. And what would they do? Go straight to fucking King's Landing?
I mean, you don't even need to cross the river to go to King's Landing.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think you do.
You got to cross at some point at the end.
Yeah, at the Ruby Ford.
That's her house too, you know. Right.
Well,
Yeah, and they're under siege and fighting.
Where else would she be wanting to go? Yeah.
And then this is the part we said earlier. She even says like you should be there. There's like fighting there, and he's like, I was gonna go. I'm just waiting on the rest of everybody to get here. Tell him, Jared. And Jared's like, yeah, on my honor, I promise, like for sure. And then he like just keeps jabbing at her. He says her fool brother lost the fight before they could march, and Jaime Lannister cut through Edmure like an axe cuts through cheese.
Right,
And
cheese, not
he's
just
like, why
normal
would you
cheese.
send men south when all the men who went south are running back north right now? And Kat's like, this is like all the more reason that we need to go.
Yeah, like today. Like open the fucking doors.
And she's like, where can we talk? And he's like, we're talking now. And he just kicks everybody out. And once they're all gone, he like whispers to Kat, or I don't know, he leans close, which doesn't make sense because everyone's gone. So like, seems like you could just say it from a distance at this point. But he basically just says like, I know they all just want me to die. And he's like, why should I die? Just so he can be a lord. Like, fuck that. And then later he even says like, I should give my 16-year-old, I hope I give her a son and maybe I'll make him heir just to piss them all off.
What does he say?
He's a motherfucker.
What's the term he uses? It's
Just to boil them all.
Yeah. That'll boil them.
He also says like, he's like, I should just like help Tywin boil you. He says it like 2 or 3 times when he's like talking about like fuck these people.
Was like, oh, I hope you live to 100, and he's like, oh, that'll really boil.
Yeah.
So basically, they go back to talk, like speaking really bluntly. Kat's like, "Let me cross." He's like, "Why should I let you?" And she's like, "We have 20,000 men." He's like, "Yeah, but that'll be 20,000 corpses if I don't let you cross." And he says, "Don't try to fight me, my lady. Your husband is in some traitor's cell under the Red Keep. Your father's sick, might be dying, and Jaime Lannister's got your brother in chains. What do you have that I should fear? That son of yours? I'll match you son for son and still have 18 when all yours are dead."
And he's still giving his young wife the D.
Yeah, he's trying to get another here.
So again, like Kat reminds him of his oath. He's like, here's I think one of the
Yeah, I
points
said
he
some
brings
words.
up. He's like, I swore oaths to the crown too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
That's one of the good points that Jeff was saying earlier. He said something like, if I had the sense that somebody gave a fish, God gave a fish, I'd help the Lannisters boil you, I think is what he says. Right?
Yeah.
And she's like, why don't you?
He's pissed at the Lannisters too, right?
And then, again, this is where he kind of mirrors what he said to Kat a second ago. He says, Lord Tywin's proud and splendid, warden of the west, hand of the king. Oh, what a great man that one is. Him and his golden this and gold that, lions here, lions there. I'll wager you he eats too many beans and breaks wind just like me, but you'll never hear him admit it. Oh, no. What's he got to be so puffed up about anyway? Only 2 sons, and one of them's a twisted little monster. I'll match him son for son and still have 19 and a half when all of his are dead.
He's like really concerned about the amount of sons he has.
But it's just funny that like that's like how he compares himself to like other people. He's like, oh, you think you're better than me? He's like, I have 18 more sons than you. Tywin thinks he's better than me. I have 19 and a half more sons.
That's like
than
the
him.
only measuring stat that matters
But
to
here
him.
he's doing the same thing that the other guy did, and is still in the dungeons for it. You know, he's like, I bet even shit's gold. You know, and here he is talking all this shit on.
That guy was just like a no-name person.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way Frey says this in front of
I know.
Tywin.
Well, that's what I guess what I'm getting at is he talks a big game, but
this just also reminds me of the thing where it's like, what's that saying? Like when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Right. It's like when all you have is 22 kids. The only thing that you're going to compare anything to is how many kids everybody else has. Right? Like, it's like the one thing he's always going to win. It's like, fuck you, I got more kids. Fuck you, I got more kids. Like, yeah, it's like his trump card.
yeah, but fuck this pink wrinkly old dude though. He just grosses me out. I don't know. We don't even have much
he's a
time.
gross human
He's a super
being.
creep. But the last thing he says is, if Tywin wants my help, he can ask for it. Like, I'm not just going to help Tywin because he's like Tywin's Tywin. And Kat, this is where Kat's like, well, I am fucking here. I'm asking you, like, I'm like practically begging you.
Everyone's asking for your help. My sons, my brother.
And see, I think Rob would have. Like I said, I don't think Rob would have handled this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So the thing is here, I think part of his like frustration with Kat is, and he is about to get into it, he doesn't just really like the Tullys because he feels like the Tullys kind of look down on him, right? Like
Absolutely.
Edmure didn't marry his daughter
Because
when he
he's kind of a
proposed
piece
that.
of shit, and I think everybody looks down on him.
But
Doesn't
you don't
matter,
know,
he's a
like
High
you
Lord.
can't assume he was holding conversations with Hoster Tully like this. Maybe he was, right? And then maybe that's why he got rejected, but maybe he was being like nice and Hoster was like, no, you're too lowborn for Edmure. And then like now he's pissed off about it and treating Cat like a dick because he was spurned. And
But
now
his whole reputation is for being this kind of a piece of shit. Like that's his reputation.
The late water
his
threat.
reputation is being late, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Cat-
like
I mean,
for
and
only
Cat
caring
talks
about
about him
himself
like this.
and
Yeah.
not really like being a respectable lord. So like I think people have a reason to kind of give him grief, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I'm with you for sure.
But I was thinking about it, like if you're in his shoes, like, put yourself in his shoes. What's like a better, like look at what your choices are right now. Even if you're like an honorable guy, right? You could always go with the out that he gives, where I have an oath to the Tullys, but I also have an oath to the crown, right? Like,
But every bannerman has said that if that happened, there would never be a war.
yes, it just seems like, I don't know, like if he just says "fuck you, Rob," what happens to him? Does anything bad happen to him?
He closes the gates and they wait for a siege and they wait for Tywin to come up and then when Tywin comes up, he's gonna be like, hey, I held them out of the gate, like I did this for you, like pay me now. You know what
He's
I mean?
playing the game. Yeah, he's only looking out for himself. He's going to pretend He's going to pretend it was for everybody else's benefit, but it's actually for his own.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But it seems like either it's like a win-win for him right now.
Yeah, he's in a win-win situation.
Well, that's the way he lives his life. That's his MO. That's what I'm getting at.
He's betting on red and black at
And
the
what
same
I'm
time.
saying is, I think the reason he's being so is being like this to Cat is because it's Cat's. I mean, I guess it's the same thing because Cat was never rude to him. But I'm saying is like Cat's family was kind of rude to his family in the past, right? And then why would he treat Rob like that? But I guess it's the same thing. Like even though Rob's technically not a Tully, it's the same fucking lineage as.
They never
And
even came to
Catelyn's
this
the one
party now.
coming.
Yeah, exactly. And Cat never spurned him, right? It was Cat's dad and sister, from what he says here, and he's holding it against Cat.
Which isn't fair, because Lysa is batshit crazy.
But it's like I'm not saying that he is rightfully upset, but I could see why you'd be upset about this, right?
Well, he just plays the victim, is what I'm getting at, and that's.
And again, I think, and the reason I don't think he's rightfully upset is because he is lower born than the Tullys. So it's like when you propose a marriage pact like that, you should expect that like it's probably going to get shot down unless like you have something to offer, right? Like that's how like dowries happen, right? Like isn't like in the olden times, like if you're giving away a daughter and you're a lesser birth, don't you just like have to pay the son like a fuck ton of money basically?
No,
Yeah.
I think
That happens later in these books with
That's
like
how it
in
works.
certain managers.
The wife always had to come with some gift, yeah.
But I didn't know if that
especially
was
if the
like the
wife was lower born.
I thought that was just like a
I think it
tradition.
was normally if the wife was
Well,
lower born. Because if it was,
I mean, if
it
you
was
want to get
equal
into that,
houses,
he
it's an
talks shit on his
alliance.
bastards. He's in there yelling at his own bastards. Like, you expect me to fucking listen to a bastard? Your mom was out there doing this when I banged her.
Fucking him goat.
Yeah, so like, I
Yes.
mean, he's doing the same thing he's yelling about these people doing. So
And I think what's like kind of weird, and like they don't really ever say it, but he does seem like a higher tier, lesser lord than most. Right, like kind of like what I was saying before. Like he reports to the Tullys. Like there's 7 main houses, right? Like Tullys, Starks, blah blah blah, whatever else it is. But like, I can't think of a bigger, lesser house than the Freys.
part of that is their location.
Maybe just because I think it's because they hold the river.
That's what
right?
exactly.
Because
Their location and their value is that part of that.
Yeah, just as an example, right? The Manderleys are one of like the larger, if not the, I'm not sure the exact sizes are like relative sizes.
and they
but I
have
know
the
they're-
big harbor too, right on the East
Yeah.
Coast.
The Manderleys are big for the fucking Norse. And how many
Okay.
people does Cat come with when she goes to milk Catelyn?
2,000.
1,600.
Okay, yeah.
1,600. So they can't even get 2,000. So the Freys are literally over twice as big as the Manderleys. And the Manderleys are
Yeah.
fucking big. So I think that's part of it too. While he is a lesser house, I think he feels himself
He's caught in the middle ground.
more important because he
Yeah.
is older too. She says they've been here for 600 years. That's from fucking before Aegon the Conqueror, right? He's older than fucking Targaryens in this area.
Mhm.
So like I think there's pride that he feels like he deserves that he doesn't get, which is like, and again, I'm not trying to make reason for it, but like if you just look at like the politics of Westeros, it makes sense why a person of his position might
Absolutely.
feel spurned.
No, I agree. I agree. I think that's like part of when I said he made a lot of good points was You know, he should be a well-respected man if he wasn't an asshole. Like, we don't, like, what was his dad? Like, his dad might have been, like, the dude, right? Everybody could have loved him. This guy's just lived for, like, 3 generations. He's been the Lord Frey.
Me, you,
Do you know what I mean?
Me, you, and Glow saw his dad in one of the prequel books.
I totally forget about him.
Yeah, I don't recall.
I didn't think so.
But you know what I mean? Like, people have lived and died multiple times, and he's been the Lord Frey. So, like, that's going to get passed down. Who knows what the fuck...
And so
like,
he starts
people
talking
thought
about
his dad. I forget. Maybe
so
Nelson knows.
Here they're talking about why they hate, why he hates or doesn't like the Tullys. He says he doesn't like Lord Hoster because of the marriage thing. Doesn't like, and he even says that he knows
didn't
that
come
Hoster,
to the party, right?
His
He didn't come to his last
doesn't come
birthday.
to the last 2 weddings.
But so the one he was sick, but the second one, like, come on, like number 7, like I would be getting tired of, like, Nelson, you're getting married again. Like, I
you
can't
gotta
make
bring
it
a
work.
gift.
Chill out, man. Come on.
And you got to bring a sweet gift every
Yeah,
time.
like I don't blame the Tullys or Hoster for doing that.
Yeah. Send a son or something.
I wonder, did he, like, divorce some wives, or did they all die? Like,
I think they died.
that's crazy.
I mean, he's 90.
I don't know if he
Like you're
divorced
saying,
them, or I don't know if they
one
all
probably
died.
died during childbirth. One probably died of old
Yeah.
age. The other probably died of dysentery.
Pretty crazy.
But also he says that he knows that Hoster calls him the late Lord Frey, but he says, like, why does he say that? I'm not dead yet. Right? Like, I think he thinks it means like the late Lord Frey. Like,
Yeah,
they
like,
say,
like gone. Yeah, late.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like the late
He
George
doesn't-
Washington or whatever. Yeah, somebody who's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't actually understand the meaning.
for sure. I mean, he's just an idiot.
Well, that was
then.
how I thought it was the first. That's what I thought the first time too. When you read the late Lord Frey, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess Lord Frey's dead. But then they explained all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, and then they get into why he doesn't like Lysa. Do you remember that, Kyle?
Yeah, because she was going to send her kid to. She didn't want to trade kids with him. She was going to send him.
I think he offered, and she just turned him straight down, right? Or
He wanted to trade 2 grandkids
For
a
hers,
kid, for a foster.
but didn't they already have him promised?
And Aaron said, yeah.
well, he said
John Aaron-
Stannis, but and then she's like, "Wait, wasn't it Tywin?" That whole
Yeah,
debacle.
because that's what Ned heard from Robert in the first chapter. But yeah,
Mhm.
basically just like Lysa got really pissed off, and he's like, she looked at me like I wanted to sell her son to like a mummer's trope or
Make
turn
a
him into a
eunuch.
eunuch or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she was a bitch, but if they already promised him to somewhere else, like, what can you really do? Like, you
Yeah, and that's
cancel it with them, and
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what John tells him.
She
And he's
doesn't
like,
want to
"Fuck
send
that."
him anywhere either. It's not just him. No
Exactly.
matter what.
Yeah, but I don't know if Walter realizes that,
Yeah.
right?
It's like
He just realizes that she gets, and that's even what happens, right? Is John says, no, we can't, we're sending him to Stannis, and then she gets pissed off and runs away. But Walter takes it as an insult to him, but she might just be pissed that they're sending him to Stannis, right?
which that is something that's got to be part of the web of things that you guys talk about in the spoiler section. I don't know where it leads yet, but this whole Lord Stannis or Tywin debacle.
For the fostering,
Yeah, like that's got to
it's
be
important.
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't know what it means just yet, but it's got to be. Because when I was reading, that's kind of like, oh, there's some more stuff going in the background here. So, I mean, at the very least, what I had to assume is that Tywin is really pushing, or Cersei and everybody, the Lannisters are really pushing to get control of everything. Because that would have given the East, the West, the South,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
potentially the North.
Well, and we even hear in that first Robert chapter, right, that Robert, or one of the
I
first
think they're
Ned
trying
chapters
to
that
get
they're
Sansa
going to
married
give,
to Joffrey.
and they're going to give the wardenship to they were going to give the warden of the East to Jaime or something like that, right? And Ned's like, you can't give it to him at least for an honor. And Robert's like, he's only a boy. I'm not going to do that. Like, they had that argument. So then he keeps falling into this like creepy thing where he's like, I'm gonna fuck my wife again, even though she's 16 and she's gonna give me kids, even though I'm 90. And he does a little bit more of that, and then they start like haggling. Basically, it says like then there was nothing to do but haggle.
Then there was business.
And then they cut out all the good parts. Not
Which
all
is
the good
bullshit.
parts, a lot of the boring parts.
It's kind of weird that they cut. I mean, I guess you wanted to find out Rob's reaction to it.
Yeah, so they didn't have to tell it twice. Yeah, that's probably why.
And Rob's reaction would be more important than what's his name, like proposing it or whoever proposed it. Which is pretty weird. Like, what if Kat proposed it first?
That's the thing, is like you don't know, like, could she have got a better deal? Could she have like got Rob out of it or got Arya out of it or something? Like,
I mean, she also convinced Frey to send her armies too. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, that's true.
That
like,
was probably for Arya.
Maybe that wasn't on the table, and she's like, "Nah, we need these people. Put it on the table."
Yeah, it definitely helps that she got it's like 3,000 dudes, I guess, because they had to leave 400 behind, and they both left 400 behind. But so that's what I was gonna say is I mean, and you guys probably know better than you definitely know better than I do. I don't know how intent she is on following through with a lot of this.
So it seems like one thing's happening like right now. The first thing
Squire.
she says, if you can spare a few swords, I need some men to escort two of Lord Freyd's grandsons north to Winterfell.
Yeah,
I agreed to
that I
take
assume is
them.
happening. I don't
Grandson
know about
Water and grandson Water.
So Winterfell is hostages now, right? That's how that works. Like that's normally what awards are for.
That's not really a hostage. That's not a hostage.
I mean, it's not the main point. It's kind of like the failsafe. Like, we'll kill your kid.
But he doesn't care about his kids.
He's got
not
a lot
even.
of them.
I mean, these are two grandkids too.
Yeah.
Like,
and he didn't even remember the ones he didn't even remember which son.
I think it's more to honor him. Like, hey, well,
it's
they
an
can come
honor
live
and
with
get
us.
trained there. Yeah, but like at the same time, Ned Stark was a ward at
The Eyrie. Yeah.
What's weird about that though?
And that's not like they weren't captives; they were just getting trained.
Well, the one weird thing is I always thought like the whole point of that was like so you can grow up with like other boys, which makes sense here because they're like gonna grow up with Bran, right? That's the intent here. But the thing that he proposed was, hey, Lysa and Jon Arryn, give me your one child, and I'll give you two grandkids. Well, then who are those two grandkids gonna grow up with? Like, yeah, your one kid's gonna grow up with like 500 Freys at the fucking.
But it's like
twins.
different people. You learn different shit. It's
for sure, but it seems like it's more of like a age.
It's
thing.
not a permanent thing either.
If Rob wasn't with Ned, he wasn't. If Rob Baratheon was with Ned, who else was there? I mean, John didn't have a son
that's what I'm saying,
yet.
but I think that was the point.
What I was going to get
that was
into
kind of the point was that they were both there.
I think it's more of it's like a marriage alliance, but it's not quite as permanent.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
And now that I'm thinking about it, we actually do hear of one later on that doesn't. I think is just one person going to stay with another family that doesn't have a
like
kid.
you enough and we're close enough friends and it brings them closer. Like we're training your son, like we have your son where he's here.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not permanent like a marriage.
Yeah. So besides that, what else we got? Besides the two awards,
Arya's getting betrothed.
Arya's going to get betrothed to his youngest, Elmar.
Who's got to be, 24 right now?
No, he's not of age.
How old is he? Right, because when they say when they're both of age.
Yeah, he said when they're both of age, yep.
Does Frey know that she's disappeared right now?
Catelyn doesn't know she's disappeared.
I thought she did. They didn't mention her.
I think it just doesn't mention her.
I think she's probably assumes that
it's Ned that just learned that. Sorry, that's my mistake.
Yeah. But I think she knows because it wasn't in the letter, and they made a point of saying that in that chapter. Like there was no mention of Arya, and
that's true.
Catelyn knows Cersei, so
Elmer's 9.
Arya's like 6, 7.
She's like 8 or not 8, right?
Bran's 7. Yeah. So she's 9.
8 or
she's
9
as well.
And Sansa's 11.
Sansa's 11.
Yeah. Also, they're getting Lord Frey's son Oliver is going to be Rob's personal squire.
How old's Oliver?
It's funny because Rob's hearing all this shit and he's like, all right, cool, that's easy. Like, send those two kids up there. All right, Arya's not gonna like that, but fuck it, like she can marry that kid. What, a squire? Yeah, he can clean my shit for me. And you have to marry his daughter. And he's like, oh.
He's 18.
Okay.
All right.
So he's older than Rob. Oliver is 18. He's older than Rob. It's like Theon's age.
Yo, imagine that shit.
That's the squire, yeah.
That'd be embarrassing squiring for someone older than you.
I mean, he's also
but he's also the lord of the lord of the whole army, so it's kind of badass.
Yeah.
Also,
the Lord of
Rob's not a
Winterfell
knight.
and
he
son.
can't knight anybody.
Yeah, Rob's not a knight.
They don't even believe of.
I don't think it's
up
that
north.
important. That's what that's kind of.
That's what I didn't understand.
Well, no, that's what I was talking about.
They'll have like Edmure do it or somebody at River Run. You know what I mean?
That's what I was talking about, though. That's why I don't think she was 100% on this deal. Like, I think this was kind of lip service for Frey. Like who gives a shit once we're through?
She believes it. She believes in
I still
knights,
think
though.
it's one of those things. Like, once we're through, who gives a shit what I told this dude? I got us through. That, like I said, when I read that, the knights thing, and we had that whole discussion about how they don't knight people in the north and all that, like, it seemed like it was, like I said, lip service. Just like, yeah, you can have Rob, you can have Arya, yeah, whatever. Yeah, like, just fucking open the gate.
So you think that Cat, as soon as they get through, Cat's basically gonna be like, hey, none of that was really important. She's not even gonna try and honor any of it.
I don't think that's gonna happen yet. I think, well, especially because they got dudes, they have their whole army with them. I think they're gotta
now they have Frey's with them.
But I think after the war is when they're gonna deal with all this stuff. And first off, who knows if Rob's even gonna make it, or is even gonna make it? Like, those two things.
Yeah, and I guess if everything goes perfect, right, and then like, hey, you win everything with no like losses. At the end of the day, you're back to 20,000 Starks versus 3,000, 4,000 Freys.
Yeah. So I don't know that she would attack him or anything, but I think she might renege on her deal and maybe switch the terms. Like I said, I think that's why it was good that she went in. Goes back to that whole part that I was talking about earlier, is that, like, I think she knew the game to play with him. And it was just fucking tell him whatever he wants to hear. And that was even when he goes, well, Tywin just needs to ask me for help. And she's like, well, here I am asking you for help. Like, if that's what you want to hear, is somebody begging for help, here it is. And like I said, I think it's a little deeper than just she made this shitty deal.
And that explains everything that we were saying to, like, why, like, is this the best she could do? Is it not the best
Didn't
she
matter.
could do? She doesn't really care because she doesn't really care.
Is the gate open? Is the army across?
yeah.
So it's
She's
kind of
just
weird.
like silent over here.
And
Like,
is he
checking it.
happy enough that he's not going to tell Tywin first thing when she leaves?
Oh, that's what you got to make sure. But so it's kind of, so I was just thinking, it's weird. We have all this politics shit going on up in the north, and then all the politics shit going on in King's Landing. It's both the moms taking over and basically like facilitating everything. Like Cersei's down in King's Landing doing shit
That's a
while
good point.
Catelyn's up in the north taking care of shit, kind of.
I mean, and even fucking what we got going on in the east right now, right? We got Dany, who's not a queen, but
Pretty much.
She's a mother to be.
That's why the queen's the most powerful chess piece, right, Nelson?
exactly.
Ooh,
I mean,
I wanna
George
play
R.
chess
Martin.
now.
George R. Martin is a huge feminist, and he was in like 2 very long-term relationships, both of them with like big redheaded feminists, right? So we get Kat, your redheaded female main character, who's kind of like taking charge here.
How about that? How about that fun fact for you?
Fun fact for you readers out there.
Listeners.
All right. And then we end the chapter.
All right,
Basically,
Kyle.
in the chapter, they ride across the bridge with all the
And
horse.
Bruce stays.
And Bruce
Bruce
stays.
stays.
And who do they leave? They leave. Kyle's right. He mentioned this. They leave 400 people at the Twins, and Rob leaves who in command?
Howell something. I forget his name. Hellman Tallheart.
Yeah. There you go. Hellman Mayonnaise Tallheart.
He was earlier in the chapter, right? Like, didn't he say something? He was like one of the guys
He
that was
probably
like, fuck those
Pitched
guys.
in, was like, fuck the phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably something like
Because
that.
I remembered his name, but I don't remember reading his name other than that, I guess. But he is a sir.
I'm sure he's like been in a room. I'm sure like maybe the
Yeah.
part where Brand's like, all the lords tested Rob, and like this one brought him gifts, and this one did this. I'm sure he was probably mentioned there, and then maybe he might have been in a
So
room.
he's a
at another
sir.
time.
That makes him a knight, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes, that would make him a knight.
Sir Hellman Tallheart.
So he could knight the fray.
Is he a North kid? North guy?
Yeah, he's in the north.
Why would he be a knight then?
I mean, not
Some people. in
some
the north are
Northmen.
knights.
Yeah, I mean,
Was Ned a knight? Is Ned a knight?
he might have
They
been
call
knighted.
him, no, they call him Lord Eddard. I never hear him called
Well, yeah,
Sir
but
Eddard.
knights that are lords become like Lord Super. They don't call you like Lord Sir Eddard.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Sir Lord. They're just like.
I mean,
Lord supersedes.
John Aaron could have knighted him for sure.
Or Robert.
Was Robert a knight?
He was king,
Doesn't mean he's a knight.
but he could.
That's true.
The king has to be able to knight people.
Any
Doesn't
knight
it
can
take
make
a knight to? It takes a knight to knight someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a knight.
I don't know
Knight,
the
a knight.
hierarchy there.
The king
A
has
knight,
to have
knight's a
that.
knight.
The king has to have that.
This isn't England, bro.
Knight's a better chess piece than the king.
It's the square rectangle rule. If you're a king, you're a lord and a knight. But if you're a lord, you're just a knight. But if you're a knight, you're just a knight.
I don't know. We're wasting time.
Square triangle, rectangle rule.
We got anything else? What we got for the next cat chapter?
Cow.
Kai?
Oh man. Well, we didn't get to say this, so I thought it was the ending of this one was cool, where she's like, for good or ill, her son had thrown the dice. Like she's like, everything's in motion. There's no stopping what's happening now. Like
I thought that last line was actually kind of weird, because like, what does she mean when she says that? Right? Like she's saying like, I thought she's saying like he's taking a chance with this whole split the army plan.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what I
he's,
thought.
Right.
he's shooting
But
his
it
shot.
seems like we were 100% set on this plan from the first word of this chapter. It wasn't like, oh, what are we gonna do? And then Rob,
But
like in
now
the
it's
middle,
happening.
decides.
Well, yeah, but now it's
Well,
like,
I mean, there's
like,
no,
it's,
there's no going
it's still
back.
like there's a chance.
Yeah, but take the last sentence of this chapter and put it at the end of the last cat chapter. That actually ended with Rob being like, "Oh, I think we should go straight south," and then Cat's like,
What was the
really?"
problem?
Like just
too,
saying,
if-
they're actually doing it now. Like it's actually.
I got you,
happening.
but like literally the end of the last chapter was Rob's like, "Oh wait, I know what to do. I'm gonna split my forces," and that is like when he actually comes up with the idea to like do something like kind of like.
But now it's
I
in
don't know,
motion.
I got you. Okay.
The army is
They're
split.
actually throwing the dice now.
The army has split. There's no.
It's like the point of no return.
Yeah.
All right,
Correct.
The dice
Kyle,
are
give us a
rolling.
little.
It's too late to change
Rob's
anything.
headed to River Run. What happens when he gets there?
There's a siege at River.
I mean,
Run.
I guess I got to still go down that pathway that I think he's going to break the siege.
What happens in our next Tyrion chapter?
He does another backflip off an awning.
And then has the leg cramp and has
Yeah.
to waddle away.
Bitches about his legs for the next.
That's so funny. You remember the backflip off the awning.
Yeah, that's all I remember. Well, we did kind of talk about it for a while.
It's like the one thing George wants to retcon.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate to play like, oh, the good guys are gonna win, like, because that's kind of stupid. Especially because I know how these books are. Even just
And Ned's rotting in the cells of Red Keep right now.
yeah, exactly. I think Roose might get battled back, and that side falls apart a little, and they gotta
Back to Mo Catelyn.
yeah they gotta.
Just
I
Just
think they
back
gotta
north.
get the Erie has to come out or has to have some involvement in this somehow, somewhere
All
along
right.
the way. How's
I
that?
was thinking.
Fair enough.
Take it.
I like it.
Next chapter is John. Do you have any predictions for John? I have no idea what even happened last time we met John.
John was when the white.
He got in trouble and got locked up, and then came out of the ghost, and him came out and went up to Lord Commander's room.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
fucking
and
the
they
White
fought
Walkers
the-
were inside. Yeah,
Fought the zombie. Yeah.
yeah. He killed the Whites in the Lord Commander's room.
Yeah, White killed one.
No, I thought there were two.
They
Well, he cut his arm off. There was two in the cells, but there was only one in the Lord
There's two
Commander's
dead
room.
bodies in the cells. One.
One in the Lord Commander's room. Yes. Any predictions for that?
Is that where
It's
we're
the
going next?
chapter?
Is John?
Yeah, just because
Yeah,
it's the next
John's
chapter.
next.
So are you saying one of them's alive still?
We don't know. We only know that one got to the Lord Commander's chamber.
We only know of one at all, right? That was walking around.
Two dead
Well,
bodies.
no, I mean they took two bodies back, and one was walking.
Exactly. John wakes up, goes upstairs, and there's only one there. Exactly. And then it ends right as that one dies. So we don't know about the other one.
I think the other one's gonna get captured, and they're gonna try and figure out what it is. How's that?
Tame it.
Not tame it, but they're trying to understand the enemy.
What's that? Have you guys seen The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's that sexy black chick
Yeah,
with a samurai
she's
sword
Shin.
who like doesn't
Oh,
she
you
like
like
keep
her.
them? Yeah, she's
Sexy.
pretty hot. Doesn't she keep she keeps some zombies
She
like
keeps
with some like
two.
hooks
They're-
in their chin?
Yeah.
They're her brothers. They're her brothers.
Oh fuck!
She chopped their jaw off. So
I think that was the season I stopped watching.
Yeah, I stopped watching very shortly after too. The last season when they're in the prison, and
The last
they
season
get
that was
out
like
of-
season
Yeah,
3.
that's the one.
I'm
That's the
saying
last one I watched.
The last season that they are in the prison, and
there's
they
like
fight the governor.
some weird bad guy called like the Governor in a town nearby or
Governor.
something.
The governor.
The
It's
Governor.
not Governor,
He is a fucking
but the
tank.
governor. Yes.
That's actually when I stopped watching it too, though, guys.
He was giving me like a C-list Terminator vibe. Just like that's why I called him the Governor. Just like trying to be like this.
You
big
know what
tough
really pissed me off is when they just started headshotting everything. They never missed. every shot to a zombie was boom right in the fucking in their head, right in the face.
The problem that show had was every single time a zombie attacked, it was the worst attack and the most like so close to death attack ever. Like so like edge of your seat like attack. Like there's no way a character doesn't die here, and then no one ever dies. So it's just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then
Not
like
completely
after,
true. Early on,
A lot of people died in that.
well, they had no problem. Yeah, I mean they did it. I don't completely agree with what you just said.
The first season, Jeff, when we watched that in your room, first season, that show was really good.
Yeah. Just think about the first season. Like they're all at that so this is funny because I literally was bored yesterday and watched episode 1 and 2 of season 1. Just think about it. When
Those
Rick
two
gets back
episodes
to
are
his
dope.
family.
like in the tank in Chicago or whatever city that is. What
That's
city is
Atlanta.
that? Atlanta.
That's Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah,
even
it's
when he
Atlanta.
gets back to his family and they're at that like kind of like campsite and Glenn brings back the alarm car and then they get fucking swarmed, like the sister gets bit, like they lose a couple people in that battle. And that's like episode 3. Now they
those are
weren't
red
like
shirts.
No, man.
right, I get it.
Everybody ended up dead in that show.
So Kyle's prediction was that they're gonna pull what's that girl's name again? Michonne. They're gonna
Michonne.
They're gonna Michonne the last white.
That was
We got
not my
way off
prediction.
topic there.
What was the topic? Or what was the
You
prediction?
said they were going to start like
They're just
testing
gonna
on him.
capture it and try and figure out what it is. I don't think they're gonna kill it as fast. I think everybody's gonna wake up and it's probably gonna have fucked up a couple people.
But they're gonna end up capturing it.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
So they know what they're
All
up
right.
against.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool, Kyle. Well, it was great chatting with you this sode of Catelyn 9. We'll see you on the next sode, all right, buddy?
Yeah, dude. See you then.
Bye,
Bye, Kyle.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
All right, see you later, Cal. It was great hanging out, bud. We'll see you on the next sode. Boys, now into the spoilers section of Catelyn 9. What are your hot takes for this sode?
Phrase to the red wedding.
I don't know. Other than
Spoiler.
them dying other than the Frey doing exactly what Kyle kind of expected and turning on them when
Well, Kyle didn't really say that. Kyle just said Kyle kind of said that Catelyn was going to throw
Yeah,
these
it's
promises out the window, and Cat I don't think does. I think Cat intends to honor these things.
Yeah, I believe Cat intends on it.
yeah, for sure. Especially because when we find out that Rob is banging the nurse girl or whatever that girl is,
She's like
Jean
extra
Westerly.
pissed.
She's not a nurse in the. I don't think she's a nurse in the.
no, I think she's just a little house girl that they were like fighting with the brothers or something like that.
Yeah, they're from
They're
from the
Western
West.
lands.
They're pretty sure like Tywin paid them. That they were in on the red wedding. Well, the daughter wasn't, but the mom was, who like kind of like set it up or whatever. But we'll get
Oh,
into that
really?
later.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a big theory, I guess.
Yeah, Tywin like pardons the Westerlings from after the red wedding, even though they were married to the Starks, and then they got like lands or something. I don't remember exactly. I haven't looked into that, but yeah. In the show, she's like a nurse from Volantis.
Yeah, which takes away
Which
like all of
is the Tywin-ness of it, yeah. And she's not at the red wedding and doesn't die, so there's like a theory that she's pregnant with Rob's heir still too.
Yeah, but the mom was probably feeding her milk of the poppy or whatever they call it.
Well, the mom. Again, I'm trying to do this from memory. I think that when we see her the first time, she's described one way. And then when we see her after the red wedding, I think Jamie meets with her in book 4 or 5, whatever it is, when Jamie goes to Riverrun. He meets with her mom and sees her. And Jamie describes her very differently than Kat describes her. So there's theories that, yes, the Westerlings like kind of took this money and took these rewards from the Lannisters for fucking over the Starks. But also on the side, we're actually on the Starks because they're like, after they join the Starks, like, yo, these people are actually pretty cool. So there's a theory that like they agreed to help Tywin, but then when the time came, the Westerling mom showed Jamie another daughter, her second daughter, instead of Jane Westerling. Basically said the other, swapped them, and that potentially the one is still alive with Rob's heir.
Okay.
Pregnant. Prego, I think, is the theory. I don't really have that much for this chapter.
I don't really. Other than them dying at the Red Wedding, what do we know? He's not going to marry the girl. Edmure ends up going to marry the girl, right?
We can talk about the whole Tywin Stannis, whatever, with Littlefinger and all that shit.
Oh yeah, Kyle's kind of onto that.
Yeah, Kyle.
He's never gonna trace it back to what it means, but it's impressive that he.
Yeah, I mean, we brought it up a couple times. Like, if we never brought it up,
it is really out of nowhere in this chapter. They talk about it for like a kind of like weird amount of time.
Yeah, like Stannis, are you sure? Stannis, are you sure? Stannis, are you sure? Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, out of nowhere, like Walder Frey just like starts like he says like a bunch of like, weird stuff, right? Like he's saying like, "Why should I help you? Why should I help you?" It's all about like, "Why should I help you? Oh, you always look down on me. Why should I help you?" And then all of a sudden, he's like goes off on this weird tangent about why he hates Lysa and how he brought like 4 of his sons down to King's Landing and like a few of his bastards who wanted to fight in the melee, and how like they dishonored him, and one of them got unhorsed by Loras Tyrell. And like he gets like really in depth for this like particular story that the whole point of it is Lysa was pissed about the fostering, which is and it's funny because Kyle even realized the important point, right? The important point is she didn't want
anyone to foster.
Exactly. It's not is it Stannis, is it fucking Tywin? It's Littlefinger just needed Lysa to be like, yo, they're gonna take your kids if you don't kill Jon.
Right.
Yeah, and then the one thing I have is Frey is similar to Craster and like how it's different.
He just keeps having kids, but he wants daughters.
Well, he wants sons, so he can give them to the White Walkers, and he keeps the daughters.
I guess that's true.
Well, Craster's wants daughters, and
to keep having sons too. Yeah.
Does Craster want daughters? I thought
if he has more daughters, he has the opportunity to have more sons.
I don't think he gives a fuck about having sons.
Well, he gives them to the White Walkers.
But if he never ever has a son, then it's just like, all right, well, what do you want me to do? Sorry, I had a daughter.
It's like, sorry, I'm trying. I'm fucking him. Fucking him. All do you want from me?
That's fucking disgusting.
At that point, it's life or death. I mean, what are you doing?
I'm fucking my own granddaughter from my own wife.
I'm doing this for you, White Walkers. I'm doing this for you. I don't want to do this. There's a lot of intricacies with the phrase, right? So there's like 3 major lines of phrase, right? There's the Crake Hall phrase. He touches on that in this chapter. How he's talking about how some of his sons at that tournament were from a Crake Hall mom, and how all Crake Hall women are sluts, right? I think later, then we know that one of his sons is married to Tywin's sister. We see them later, right, in the Jaime chapter. That phrase actually the one that's given Riverrun. Right, he has that piece of paper from, I think at that point it's Lord Tommen or King Tommen. He's like, "Look at this paper. I have Riverrun," and they're like, "We're just gonna fucking burn it down." He's like, "Don't burn it down. It's my castle."
Yeah. That guy sounds like a dweeb.
And his wife is Jaime's aunt and Tywin's sister, who is like a fucking badass.
I don't remember hearing her at all.
You remember her at all?
Yeah, dude. She comes in and it's like, "Shut the fuck up! Like, this is what we're doing."
She basically tells Jaime that everyone always says Jaime's so much like Tywin, and she said that's a little bullshit. Tyrion's one that's like Tywin. She's real down to earth. She's awesome, and she says that she loves.
She only had one chapter right now, sir. I guess maybe a handful.
She says that to Jaime. That's funny as shit.
Yeah, and she says that she loved Tywin because whenever her father agreed to have her marry Aemon Frey, Tywin like stood up in front of everyone and was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, no, we do not marry the fucking Freys." And or he did something like that. Like Tywin, like in front of like as a little kid, in front of like great lords, or in front of like Walder Frey, was like, "Fuck this guy! You're not gonna marry my sister to this guy. He's a fuckwad. Like he's so low born, or something like that." And it made like her. I think her name's like Gianna or something like that. Gianna Lannister. It just like she's like, I always loved Tywin for like from that point on. Like my dad was gonna give me away to this guy.
She still married him.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's not up to Tywin. He's a fucking kid. It's like that's like if Rob would say that about Sansa or something.
Maybe you take his point of view.
Maybe, but
maybe you rethink about it. Marry her to a Tyrell.
And again, I don't know if that's exactly what it was, but Tywin like stuck up for her in front of like a bunch of high lords and got shot down. But I don't know. I like some of the Freys are cool, and there's like a lot of intricacies with them, and how like the different branches are kind of like feuding with each other. One thing we can touch on a little bit is we hear about the two fosterlings.
Yeah, the two little
Jeff, what are their
Big
names?
Water and Little Water.
Big Water, Little Water, two little shits that go up to Winterfell, and they get burned to a crisp.
No, that's
What does that mean?
No, they don't.
That's not true.
Were they not the farm boys?
No, they're not the farm boys.
Those are farm boys. They're farm boys in the show too, or in the books too. They actually become like big Ramsay.
Yeah.
Fucks.
And one of them dies in book 5.
Who kills him in book 5? Oh, was it the snowmen?
I forget.
That's up for debate, and Ramsay blame the Freys blame it on the Manderleys blame it on the Freys, and they both get sent out to go attack Stannis. The theory is though,
aren't the Freys like half Mander? Wait, what doesn't? Aren't the Freys like at White Harbor when what's his name?
This is all
there?
Winterfell.
Is
This
that
is all
Winterfell?
Winterfell. At Winterfell, Ramsay. There's a theory that Ramsay kills one of his own squires, one of the Frey boys, and then the next day convinces the cousin, right? Because these two aren't brothers. Convinces the other Frey boy to accuse the Manderleys.
Okay.
And then the Manderleys get pissed at the Freys. Basically, the Manderleys and the Freys were already pissed at each other because of the Red Wedding shit and the whole Manderley pie, right? He cooked them into pies. And they're running out of food in Winterfell, and people are killing each other in Winterfell, and they need to basically go kill Stannis now. So there's a theory that Roose says, like, okay, we need to get rid of the fucking Freys, because fuck them. They're eating all our food, and they're just starting trouble here. No one likes them. And we need to get rid of the Manderleys, because they're also doing the same fucking thing. So they basically do this. They pin this murder on the Manderleys. They pin this murder of the Freys on the Manderleys, knowing it'll cause a big fight, so that Roose has a reason to dismiss them and make them be the ones to go fight. There's a theory about that.
Huh.
That's kind of their fate. But yeah, they go and hang out. We'll see a lot of them in future brand chapters throughout Clash of Kings.
Unfortunately,
they're okay.
they're kind of.
I mean, they're douchebags, but they make the chapters better. What else are we gonna get? Just Brandon Lewin for 20 chapters?
Yeah. Oh, I like Maester Lewin. Good guy.
Good guy, real good guy.
Class act.
But yeah, let's not make this go on any longer than we've had to. We've had some long spoilers lately. I don't think I have anything else. If we miss anything, feel free to write into us. Let us know.
Yeah.
As you saw in the last chapter, we do respond to comments. So write in. Give us likes. Also,
share,
anybody who
comment.
listens on iTunes, I know. I look at the stats, fellas and ladies. I know you're listening on iTunes. Where's the comments? Where's the reviews? Somebody drop one. Hook me up.
Drop it up.
That's all I gotta say.
Give us a drop.
Sign off. Give us a sign off, guys.
See you later, guys.
Peace
The
out.
night is dark and full of terrors.
Now get the hell out of here.
Bye-bye.